Hey guys, so as promised, I'm here to see a movie. I'm at my local Cinemark to see a movie, and I'm here to see Cop Shop. As promised before in one of my earlier videos. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm lying to you. I'm here to see the Transformers. Not that Transformers movie. I do have a guilty pleasure for the original Michael Bay movie, even though it does have problems. Not as many problems as the subsequent sequels that came out after that. But I have a guilty pleasure for the original Michael Bay live-action Transformers movie. But I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the original 1986 Transformers, the movie, the animated movie. It starred a lot of stars, and just a few of them, just a sampling would be like Judd Nelson was in this movie. The late great Leonard Nimoy provided a voice, and this Orson Welles provided a voice. Robert Stack. There's a whole bunch of people that lent their voice to this movie, and it was not well received originally when it came out. But the 16-year-old Scott, in 1986, the junior in high school Scott, desperately wanted to see this movie, and he never got around to seeing it. Now, of course, I am a big nerd, and there was a thing called VHS tapes, and I have, of course, obtained a copy of that, and I think I even had it on DVD at one point. And not only that, but more than likely, I could probably find it streaming something for somewhere for free. But I want that 16-year-old Scott is still holding up his hand saying, can I please go to the big screen and see this movie? When I saw it showing as a special showing at my local Cinemark, I had to fight the urge, and it finally won out. I am finally, it beat me over the head and told me that I was going to go see this movie. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and see this movie, and then I'll be right back to let you know what I think about the original, the 1986 version of the Transformers, the animated movie, in just a few seconds. See ya. Bye. Oh, man. That was really cool. That was super cool. Seeing it is the 35th anniversary of this movie. It came out in 1986, 35 years later in 2021. Big old man Scott went to see Transformers, the movie. A quick reading of the wiki before I came in. It was basically Hasbro was looking to further their Transformers line. They wanted to introduce new characters, so they were under a mandate to replace the characters, the old guard with the new guard, basically. So we were introduced to a lot of new characters. We had Hot Rod that became Rodimus Prime. We had Ultra Magnus, I believe his name was, voiced by Robert Stack. Hot Rod was voiced by Judd Nelson. Megatron was transformed into Galvatron by Unicron. There's a lot of cons in this. And he was voiced by Leonard Nimoy. There's a lot of people in this movie. A lot of out-of-work actors doing big named out-of-work actors in this movie. I don't know. It was super cool watching this movie on the big screen. Like I said, I desperately wanted to watch it in 1986. The times never matched up. I didn't have a car. I was a goofy young kid back then who didn't have any aspirations, didn't have a car, didn't have a way to get up to the movie theater to watch this movie by myself. Now I have a car. No, I can go watch this movie by myself. But back then I didn't have a opportunity to go see this movie, so I had to wait for it to come on home video, and I watched it on the small screen at home. To see it on the big screen, finally, it was really fun. It was super fun to watch it on the big screen, but that was for nostalgic reasons only. Basically, what you're looking at is you had 2 seasons of the Transformers on the animated series on the small screen on television. And it was done by Marvel Animation, the Marvel Animation House, the studio. And say what you want about it. It was a product of its time. It was not some of the animation that is just strictly produced for TV on TV right now. They put a lot of money into that, and it's because it's a lot of business. It's the money. You put out the quality, you're going to get the young fans, and you're going to sell advertisements for that. That's the reason why we get the high quality animation that we do now. Back then, the money was just not into it. I remember briefly reading that on the wiki that it cost like $6 million to animate that movie. Now these animated movies go into the tens of millions of dollars before they actually hit the screen. They have like hundreds of animators working on one movie. So the animation was pretty much... This movie reminded me like of an hour and a half of the 2 seasons of the Transformers movie. The show. It just is the same quality writing. It was the same quality animation in this movie. And it kind of suffered for that. It wasn't terrible, but there were just some cheesy parts to it. And you can see the ideas that they were trying to form with this movie and these scenes that we got in this movie. It was an honest, earnest attempt that they were giving to us to treat us like the adults that we, as the kids that we were, wanted to be treated like. We wanted to, kind of like the adult entertainment of that time. And that's what their attempt, you can tell that's what their attempt was. It just didn't exactly match. It didn't go 100%. It met us about 75% of the way. Love it or hate it, that's exactly what these cartoons are. They are, in basic concept, they're kind of cool. They were actually really fun. And, it formed a lot of us science fiction lovers just through those cartoons alone. But at the same time, it does have a cheese factor to it. It does kind of fail just a little bit in the writing, in the execution, in the animation. That's basically that's my review. That's basically what it boils down to. This cartoon here was a bridge between the first 2 seasons and then the last 2 seasons of the Transformers animated series, first and second generation. And the quality for the movie you would think would be better because it had a little more money to the production value of a hour and a half long movie, but it really wasn't. It was basically the same quality we got in the animated series. And again, I ask you whether you love or hate it. I loved the original cartoons. Now I've gone back and I've watched the originals. They're on Tubi, and I'm probably going to do it tonight. But at the same time, they're not good. Especially, again, like not to compare it with what we have now, but the animated series that we have now, there are some that, like, their animation's not the best, but I think it's more of a stylistic choice than a monetary choice, by a budget choice. Some of the animated cartoons out there are just fantastic. Even stupid little cartoons like Teen Titans Go. The animation is far superior to the animation that we got back in the 80s. And so revisiting that was kind of cringeworthy. But again, I lived through the 80s. I remember watching these the cartoons when they originally came out, and I loved them. And so I nostalgically loved this movie, and reviewing this movie, I nostalgically loved it as well. I loved watching this tonight. It was a great time. I had a great time doing it, except for, and that's the subject that I alluded to. I wanted to talk about the crowd that I wanted to see with. Man, it was packed. There was not an empty seat in the upper tier of that theater. It was a full theater. It had a lot of people to it. And it was 100% nerds that have no social graces whatsoever. there was a couple people in behind me that they didn't sing it at the top of their lungs, but they were singing at a very audible level all the songs throughout the soundtrack, at least halfway through the movie, until finally somebody got up and said, "Hey man, we paid for this movie. We want to hear the movie. We don't want to hear you sing about it." So that was kind of irritating. But once the movie started, except for the songs, you could tell that everybody was, their attention was directly focused on the movie, and they were as excited as I was watching this extremely old movie, and it was a good time. We all had a good time. As far as a grade for this movie goes, now again, I'm not going to be fair. I cannot objectively give you a good an honest score. I love this movie. I've seen it multiple times. This is the first time I've seen it on the big screen. I would give it an honest 85. I enjoyed this movie. I can tell that where the ideas are coming from and where they wanted to go, even if the animation and the quality of the writing didn't take it exactly to that point. I still loved this movie, and I would not, without hesitation, give it an 85%. But honestly, it's probably about a 65. It's right on there. It's not a great movie. If you didn't grow up in the 80s, and this isn't something you would, you don't have that nostalgic factor, you're probably not going to enjoy it. You won't. No. I would not recommend it for the young people, the people that have, the kids that grew up with the live action movies. This is probably something that they wouldn't want to watch. But then again, this is a special screening, so, I guess what I'm trying to tell you guys is if you didn't live through the 80s, don't rent it at home. That's the best I can do. If you did grow up in the 80s and this is showing in your hometown on the big screen, I would wholeheartedly recommend going to see this. It was a lot of fun. It was a good time. So 85 is what I'm going to give this movie. Maybe someday in the near future, I'm actually, no, I know exactly when I'm going to go and see you guys next. I will be seeing you for Venom. Venom is coming out. I've seen the trailers. I watch trailers of movies that I just don't care about, and I don't care about spoiling for myself. And Venom is one of them. And I've seen the trailer for the Venom vs. Carnage. And it looks like what I would expect it to look. It looks like a piece of poop. It looks horrible. And I'm going to hate watch it. And you know what? I'm going to love hate watching this. I'm excited to see a movie just become a dumpster fire. I just want to see this thing fail. So I'm excited to see the sequel to Venom, the Venom vs. Carnage movie that's coming out next week, and I will be seeing it on my next day off. So hey, that's what we got to look forward to, and that's the next time you guys are going to see me. But other than that, guys, I do wish everybody peace, Montanay. I'll talk to you guys later, and goodbye.